news. Your security cameras are pointed directly at the common area, violating Section 3B.
I'm authorized with the governing...
Blue light washed my bedroom like a police cruiser, and I woke to the electric buzz of a new camera staring straight through my curtains. Cold air seeped under the window. The smell of wet asphalt from last night's seal coat hung heavy. It was 4:27 a.m., pitch quiet except for that motorized whir, and then a second lens tilted toward my driveway. I stepped outside in socks, coffee steaming in my left hand, and found Karen from 2 houses down on a ladder, zip-tying wires over my property line like it was totally normal. She didn't say good morning. She said, "Smile for the neighborhood watch." A floodlight snapped on and burned my eyes. Let me make this clear up front, because this is the fight. Karen posted cameras over my driveway without a permit. Too bad I am the prosecutor. She'd bullied the HOA board for months, calling herself the safety chair. She stapled signs, and she loved rules that only applied to other people. On May 3rd, 2024, at 6:12 a.m., the first motion alert hit my phone with a ding, ding, ding. Her camera had line of sight into my garage. That's not safety. That's surveillance. I asked where her permit was. She tossed a hand, said, "HOA approval is all the permit I need." That's not how the city works. My patience thinned like the morning fog. I tried the nice route first. I took a breath, kept my voice level, told her cameras can't overhang my lot, and that I needed privacy for my kids. She laughed and said, "Only people with something to hide care about privacy." When I raised it in the HOA group email, I got silence. At the next board meeting in the clubhouse, a few neighbors kept their eyes down. One whispered later in the parking lot, "Please don't make waves." She calls the cops on everybody. I logged each attempt anyway. Timeline item 1, April 5, at 4:27 a.m., false trespass call. She'd reported my brother for walking our dog past her hydrangeas. I counted 3 complaints she made about me in 2 weeks, all nonsense. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. But I promised myself this: no shouting, no shortcuts, no petty sabotage. Proper channels only, so I set my line in the sand. She wouldn't own my sky or my driveway. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and wrote a calm letter citing the municipal code and the HOA bylaws she'd taped to my mailbox a month ago. I filed a public records request for every HOA communication about security devices. And when I say I'm thorough, I mean it. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. The camera's shadow on my driveway at 9:00 p.m., the measurement from her eave to my fence line, the glare angle on my window. I printed city zoning sections that even a 5th grader could follow. Then the clerk emailed me, and 2 days later, the file landed with 63 pages. That's when the smell of victory started to mix with my coffee. The twist arrived with the paper trail. Buried on page 18, a receipt for 4 cameras bought with HOA funds, shipped to her home, labeled temporary safety pilot. On page 31, her self-signed approval as chair and 2 board members who never actually voted. And the city? 0 permits. Not applied for, not pending, not denied. I built the cleanest trap I could. I requested a special agenda item for the next open meeting. I dropped a notice to the city code inspector about unpermitted exterior fixtures crossing property lines. I invited the local community officer who kept getting her midnight calls. No secret moves. I even sent her a gentle heads up. "Please, bring your permit documents for review." She sent back one line. "See you, counselor." She forgot who I am. The screen behind me at the clubhouse flickered on, and I pressed play. Neighbors packed the room, phones out. I walked through a simple story. Here's the city rule that says no device can extend over another owner's land. Here's the HOA rule that says purchases over $500 require a board vote. Here's the ledger. The HOA card charged $940.16 on May 3rd, 2024. Here's video of her camera shining into my garage at 10:02 p.m. The laughter started soft at first, then grew when I clicked to the slide where she'd approved her own request, signed as chair and reviewing officer. The code inspector stepped forward with a yellow tag and said, "These need to come down today." There's no permit on record. The officer cleared his throat and read the call history. 6 police contacts from her number in 1 month, all unfounded. He said it in plain words. "This ties up emergency resources." Someone in the back said, "Karen, this is embarrassing," and a tiny chorus of "oh wow" rolled across the chairs. Then came the flip. The board attorney, who'd sat bored through half our meetings this year, leaned in and said, "We cannot use HOA money without a vote. These charges need reimbursement." The inspector wrote a citation that carried a fine of $1,200, plus a correction notice for each overhanging device. The officer added a warning for misuse of 911. I handed the binder to the secretary, and the board voted 4-1 to remove the cameras, demand repayment in 10 days, and suspend her from any committee. The code inspector walked with us down the street, neighbors filming while he pasted the stop work order on her garage. The stick-on slapped loud like a judge's gavel. She tried to argue that the HOA is above city rules. The inspector didn't blink. City law applies to everyone. She went quiet for the first time in months. Peace didn't show up in a movie moment. It grew day by day. The blue wash vanished from my walls. I slept. The kids chalked hopscotch squares across the driveway without a lens watching. She paid the association back and took a seat in the back row at the next meeting, head down, no gavel. Her fine stung, and the board made her take a basic training on open meetings rules. The officer told me later that the false calls stopped. The list went from 6 in 1 month to 0 in 2 months. I kept my promise to stay lawful. I didn't gloat. I watered my roses, waved to new neighbors, and brought a cooler to the block party. When Mr. Patel's car battery died on a hot Sunday, I jumped it, and he said, "Thanks for standing up without tearing us apart." I shrugged and smiled because it wasn't about winning, it was about living. I still keep the binder on a shelf just in case, but I hope it gathers dust. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.